All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. Thanks for tuning in to another video. I meant to upload this yesterday, but kind of came down with a little something. Um, it's mostly disappeared, but that's not the point. Point is, here I am, and today we're going to be talking about John 8:58. This is a rather interesting one because I have heard the argument from many different sources that when Christ, or Jesus, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call him, when they say before Abraham was, I am, that means that Christ is saying that he is God. Well, first off, that would mean that every person that has said the phrase, I think, therefore I am, is claiming to be God. When it both is and isn't the case. Technically, anything that is God. But not the point. When Christ is saying, before Abraham was, I am, there's something to be said as far as the flow of time goes that I feel needs to be looked at. So some interpretations put it as before Abraham was born, I am. Which, if you were to follow some simple logic on the flow of time, what this is saying is before the past, right? Abraham is the past, was born being past tense, so before the past was the past, I am as in present tense, right? Before the past was the past, ultimately the past was the present. Which logically makes sense, right? Because before any past events could ever occur, they have to occur within the confines of the eternal now, so to speak. Before anything comes to pass, it must exist within the now, the present tense. Okay? Now, another way that I like to put this is before was is. And that's a little bit of a brain teaser, right? So we're saying before was is. And so it's a rather interesting way to look at that scripture, especially considering the amount of times I've heard the argument where someone says that simply saying I am means that you're declaring yourself to be the Jewish God. In reality, even Christ says God is one, right? So if God equals one, It also means, as discussed before, maybe with you guys, maybe with someone else, I don't know. I've uploaded a few videos. All is one. So God is all. Again, so when praying to God the Father, one is praying to all the Father, or in simpler terms, the all Father, the Father of all. Okay, take with that what you want. I'm not necessarily saying anything other than just what the language shows. For those of you who hear my child in the background, she is a joy. Now, on the flip side of that, before was is, there is after is oh, erase those quotes. Is was. Right, so another way of saying that is after the present moment occurs, excuse me, the present moment becomes the past. That's just a little simple logic and understanding the flow of time, right? How time flows. Now, even more so beyond all that, is understanding that while there is the present, otherwise known as the now, once the present moment passes by through the flow of time, there is the past, or the was, and then there is the future, which is the will be, or simply what will say will be. There's your kind of three pillars of the concept of time, right? So, what ultimately this starts pointing at, in my eyes, for anyone who's seen Doctor Who, is that if Jesus exists, if Christ is a person, it sounds like he may or may not be the Time Lord, right? But who is the Lord of time is the question. And as far as the pagan pantheons, that already has an answer. But again, take with that what you will. That's kind of speculation, but simply flow of time, right? present moment moves towards the future, and at the same time, right, the past isn't moving towards the present. The now expands into both. And yet there's no separation between the present moment and past moments, or the present moment and future moments, which is exactly how prophets are able to prophesy. They're able to see beyond the veil that ultimately keeps most people from being able to see, future moments in time, so to speak, which is really just a different point. All right, so let's say this is point A, different points along that flow of time, which in a dualistic aspect, time would flow in a cycle. So you'd have A, B, C, if you're going counterclockwise, so to speak, but I'd be able to see all these different points in time. During a linear flow of time, it would you'd still be able to see those different points in time based on that present moment and expansion of your conscious awareness of the present moment, which brings into mind the song lyrics for Gojira's song Vacuity. He says, Joe Duplantier says, I focus on the present, concentrate on what I find, accelerate the vision high beyond the curse of time, bring light to my attention. The walls of vacuum fall. This force increases and tells me where to go. So, some interesting song lyrics to think about in conjunction with this little lecture, so to speak. But again, if Christ saying I am, as in before Abraham was born I am, means that Christ is claiming to be God, then in my eyes, and this kind of seems to follow along the if X then Y, X then Y, sort of affirming the consequent fallacy. But in my eyes, if Christ is saying before Abraham was born I am, and that means that he is claiming to be God, then in my eyes, anyone who says I think therefore I am is also claiming to be God. Now, whether they're doing that on the conscious level or not, completely irrelevant, when really all that's being said when someone says I think therefore I am, from an objective point of view, is because I think I exist. It makes sense to me, but at the same time, that which exists is marked with a 1, and, well, as we've already discussed, one is all is God, and God exists, according to logic. And then 0 would be not exists. Which, if God is the 1 and 0 is the opposite, then that would mean that Satan doesn't exist. But do with that what you will. I'm just saying, based on logic, love transcends logic. Alright? Transcends the duality of logic. But, that being said, I think I'm going to cut it off for this video. If you have any questions about that whole concept of Satan not existing, just look at the concept of absolute zero being unachievable within the confines of physical reality. And anyways, that's what I got for you today, or at least this video. I might upload something later on. Again, I haven't been feeling the greatest, improving, but if you got something out of this video, great. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal. And if you don't know the deal, here you are. Like, comment, subscribe, or if you didn't like it, comment. Don't subscribe. If you want to be a hater and follow, then by all means be a hater and follow. It's all good. Anyways, later.